Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. In today's video, we are going to understand SSRF the right way. Now, today I want to talk about SSRF, which is server-side request forgery. And I want to explain it in a way that, actually makes sense, and it is not just a definition and payloads that we usually talk about, and it becomes really confusing. So first, what is SSRF? Now, SSRF happens when an application allows a user to control a URL or a request destination and the server itself makes the request. Now, that's the key part. The request is not coming from your browser, but it is coming from the backend server, which usually has more access than a normal user, right? Now, why is SSRF dangerous? Because servers often live inside trusted networks. They can access internal services, internal APIs, admin panels, and even cloud metadata endpoints that users should never be able to reach directly. So when SSRF exists, we basically are tricking the server into becoming our proxy. A very common interview and real based scenario for SSRF is blind SSRF. Now, blind SSRF means the parameter is vulnerable, but you're not able to prove it because you don't see any response in the UI or the browser. That's the UI, right? So maybe the page just says okay, or it doesn't change at all. Now, this is extremely common in all of these modern applications out there. So, how do we confirm SSRF when there is no response? Well, this is where out of band testing or OAST comes in place. So, we have tools like Burp Collaborator. I hope you guys are aware of that. Burp Collaborator, this one right here. Okay, so going back now to this page. Now, instead of expecting a visible response, we inject a URL pointing to our collaborator domain. Now, if the server makes a DNS or HTTP request to that domain, we know SSRF exists, even though nothing showed up in the UI. Now, let's say the developer was one step ahead of us and they blocked OAST. Well, there's another very realistic situation. And there's another way because we don't have to give up. We change our strategy. We try internal network interactions. And you're like, what? What are you saying? What is that? So, for example, we test localhost or internal IP ranges like you would know 127.0.0.1, right? In the cloud environments or the internal ports, and even difference in the timings or the error messages or how the application behaved will help us confirm SSRF. Now, one powerful thing that you can do with SSRF is port scanning. Yes, SSRF can be used for internal port scanning. The idea is simple. You make the server try to connect to different port on an internal IP. Open ports behave differently from the closed one. Maybe one responds faster, one times out, and one causes an error. Now, by observing those differences, you can map what internal services are running on which port without even touching them, directly. So, SSRF is also commonly chained with other vulnerabilities. A classic example is BLIND XXE to SSRF. If an application parses XML and processes entities, but it does not reflect data back, you can still force the XML parser to make external or internal requests. Now, that's SSRF through XXE, and it's extremely common in legacy systems and SAML based authentication flows. Now, another very important SSRF entry point that people would often miss is webhooks. Now, if an application lets users configure webhook URLs and doesn't validate them properly, that's SSRF. So the server will happily send requests to any URL you provide, including internal services. And that is why webhook security validation and allow listing are so important. Now, in cloud environments, SSRF becomes even more dangerous. Now, accessing cloud data, metadata endpoints through SSRF can lead to credential theft, privilege escalation, and even full cloud account escalations or compromise. Now, that is why SSRF findings in cloud based applications are often rated high or critical. Now, whether you use Bob collaborator, internal IP behavior, timing differences, or chained vulnerabilities, your goal is always the same, to demonstrate that the server is making attacker controlled request. To summarize, SSRF is powerful because servers are trusted. Blind SSRF is common because responses are hidden. OAST will help you confirm SSRF, but it's not the only way. And SSRF becomes truly dangerous when it is combined with internal access, cloud metadata, XXE, webhooks, or port scanning. So I hope this gave you a better idea of what SSRF is, how the concept goes around, and you understood it properly. If you still have any doubts, feel free to put them down in the comment section and I will surely respond to you. Thank you so much for watching this video. Give this a thumbs up and follow me back. Subscribe. Thank you.